Okay, everybody, I'd also like to talk a little bit about view range in your projects so that hopefully you can understand that a little better. Although, let me just say that view range is really kind of a difficult thing to master, honestly, even when you've been using Revit as long as I have. I've been using Revit for 10 plus years, and it still sometimes gets away from me. I'll just be honest about it. I understand view range very well. I use it all the time. But there's just sometimes just finickiness about it. Okay. Now, view range, if I for example, look at my main level floor plan here, right? View range really has to do with how you view your model. Okay. View range is accessed over here on the properties dialog box, and we can find it by coming to here, view range. You can also type VR on the keyboard. Now, view range doesn't really physically change anything in your model. Let me just say that. So even if you have to kind of finagle it or cheat it a little bit, it's not going to hurt or alter anything. It's just going to change the way that you view things in your model. Okay, so I just want to be really clear about that. But if I click on this view range button here, hit edit, and I have my floor plan activated here, you're going to see a few things. You're going to see, let me show this little graphic here. You're going to see that the very bottom of the view that you're looking at is this number 3, okay? So the bottom of the view really is the level you're on. So the level I'm on right now, I can't access it, is called Finished Floor Plan Main Level, okay? And that was a level that I created, or the person who, I didn't create this file, but the person who created this file generated, right? It's a data marker, it's a level, okay? So I'm on Finished Floor Plan Main Level. So that is really the bottom of my view, meaning I don't see the basement, right? I'm just seeing what's on the main level. The cut plane is number 2, and the cut plane is where your floor plate is cut. And what that means is at 4'6" above number 3, the floor plate is cut, and everything that you see from this level below is what's in that floor plan. Okay, so I'm going to hit cancel here real quick. So if my cut plane, here's my level 1, okay, there's level 1, and you see that that is actually a level, right, main level. Oop, come on, there we go. If my cut plane is set at 4 foot, this green line would be that cut plate. So I'm seeing everything that this line is hitting, right? So, and I'm looking down, so I'm seeing the railing, I'm seeing the window being cut, I'm seeing this wall being cut, I'm seeing this piece of glass being cut, I'm seeing this wall, right? Everything that intersects that green line is shown as cut, okay? And these are all of those cut items. And I can see from that cut line down to that level with that, okay? So I'm going to go back to my view range here. Where is it? I pass it. I'm going to do VR. There we go. So I have the bottom of my view, the cut plane, and then the top of my view. Okay, so the top of my view is 7'6" above the main level. All right. So what that means is if I were to look at a section cut of this project, and we have some of those down here. Building section. Okay. The top of my view is at 7'6". All right. So that means that from here up to 7'6" is the top of my view. All right. And this one actually looks like maybe it's been altered a little bit right there for whatever reason. But in general, the reason that we have a top of our view is because Revit is, again, a three-dimensional software, right? We have a 3D model. And when we create rooms in these 3D models and we define a room within this model, right? That's a room, bedroom. That's a room, closet. Okay. So if I go to architecture and I click on room tag, click, that's my bedroom. It's my defined bedroom. The reason we have that top of that view is so that we can volumetrically define these rooms, right? So the room goes from main level up 7'6". The floor plate is cut at 4'6". Okay, we don't really use that whole top of view very much in a floor plan view because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But other people, other professions, like engineers, they do. Okay, so the top of that view range, the VR, is really having to do with defining the volumetric of the space. Okay, so this bedroom goes from the main level volumetrically up to 7'6", and the cut plane's at 4'6". The view depth, okay, which is number 4, the view depth will allow you to say, I am defining this as my primary view, but I also want to be able to see just a little bit below that. So if I wanted to change this to maybe, the level below, basement, okay? If there was something in the basement that I wanted to see below the main level, something like maybe I wanted to see the foundation, the footings below my main level. It doesn't really show furniture or other elements in there. It just shows items beyond the floor plate. Okay, so essentially this space obscures everything below it, and then you can see other things like footings, foundations. If there were something like a tunnel below or, some type of equipment, you would be able to see that. Okay, so those are all the definitions of the view range. Okay, so if you are in a floor plate and there is something that you want to see and you're not able to see it because it's above or below the cut plate, or you want to see something below our bottom of our primary range, you would set all of those things here, okay? One thing I want to kind of make evident here is that your bottom of your primary range and your view depth need to be the same. So if I change this to basement and I hit OK, it will say you have an error. I need to change both of these to basement, hit OK, and then my view will change. Okay, I'm going to hit undo, Control Z, and change that back to main level. So these two things need to match, and then if you give an offset here or here, those also need to match. Okay, so that's how you can change the view range to see different things in your floor plate. You also will have to change your view range to see things in your ceiling plans. Okay, and this is kind of probably one of the more tricky view range settings, even for me. Like I said, I've been using Revit for a really long time, and not to discourage, of course, but I even find myself just sort of manipulating the view range to make it work. And most of the time I'm manipulating it within a ceiling plan because I'm having a hard time capturing everything that I want to see. Okay, so when I want to change the view range of a ceiling, of course, here I go to my ceiling plan, I go to main level, okay, and here's my ceiling plan of my main level. Now, the ceiling plan, when you're viewing the ceiling plan, it's kind of the opposite of viewing a floor plate, okay? So instead of viewing your floor plate from your cut plane down, with a reflected ceiling plan, you're viewing it from your level upwards, right? We're not looking from here down, we're looking from here up, okay? And generally, let me click on the view range of our main level ceiling plan here. When I go VR, view range, you'll see that I am viewing from top of wall here, and my top of my view depth is the wall, right? So with the floor plan, we were viewing down, and in the ceiling plan, we're viewing up, okay? So top of wall, I believe, is above the next level above the main level. So we're looking from the main level up to top of wall, and our cut plane is 7'6", okay? So let me show you what that looks like in an elevation view. So here's our top of wall, here's our main level, okay? When we view our ceiling plan, let me just start a reference plane here. Okay, I'm going to choose pick, and this is just really showing you what we're viewing. 7'6", okay. You see that blue dashed line? I'm going to click, and I put a little reference plane here, essentially. So what I'm viewing here is I am viewing, like if I were laying on my back on the main level, looking up, what I would see is at a cut plane of 7'6". Okay, instead of a cut plane of 4'6" looking down, I'm looking at a cut plane of 7'6" looking up, essentially, right? Which sounds very easy because it's kind of the opposite of a floor plan. But again, you might have to get a little tricky with some of the settings for your view range in a ceiling plan. So if I click on my main level ceiling plan, I just want to show you here that we're seeing, I think, a good amount of information on this ceiling plan, actually. So with a ceiling plan, you're going to want to, of course, see the ceiling. You're going to want to see the walls and, you know, defining architectural elements, okay? But we're not seeing that we have a door here, of course, which is actually technically wrong. But we're not going to want to see doors. We're going to want to see where headers are, meaning the defined opening for where a door would be, but we don't actually want to see the swing in the panel, okay? So I'm going to change this view range just a little bit. Edit here, okay. And I'm going to change this view range so that right now, let's just alter a few things. So if I change my cut plane to 9 foot and I hit apply, you see how things look different, right? Because at 9 foot, I'm not seeing the walls here because they're lower. If I change this to 6 foot and I hit apply, now I start seeing the doors, right? Because the doors at 7'6", they were likely 7 foot tall, the doors, maybe. So at 7'6", the cut plane was above the doors, okay? So if I change this to 7 foot, apply, right? There we go. Did a door disappear? Maybe not. Yeah, a door disappeared here. So you can kind of see things show and then not show, right? I think maybe the 6'8" here, apply, is a good view range because we're seeing doors, right? We're seeing defined architectural elements, okay? Our view depth is top of wall. If I wanted, with a ceiling, when I change the view depth, right, which would be kind of technically the top of the view, which would be similar to the bottom of the view in a floor plan, okay, I can make this go above that. So if I wanted to see, for example, the outline of the roof above this, oh, it's not showing the roof. I wonder if it's turned off actually. Nope. Yes. So there's the outline of the roof. I think it's just kind of turned off in this view actually. But what that cut plane did was allow me to see the roof above if I had wanted to see the roof, okay? I'll unhide those elements. Okay, so now we're kind of seeing the outline of the roof by changing that view plane. Okay, so what I would do here is likely I would have done what this person did, and I would have hide in view elements, right click, hide in view elements. And then what I would have done is I would have turned my doors off visually. So I would have gone to my visual graphics, VG, and I would have turned my doors off, right? Remember this, hit OK. And this is really what a reflected ceiling plan should look like. Looks like the little shower heads are showing, which is fine with me. But what I like about this reflected ceiling plan is the fact that I see the rooms, I see the ceilings, I see the walls, windows, architectural elements. I turn the doors off, but what it leaves is this is what the header looks like, which is the structure above a door that holds the opening open for that door. So I do want to see these types of things, but I don't want to see the actual doors in them, okay? So if something isn't working, like you can't really see your reflected ceiling plan very well, go into your view range and think about it like I've described it, which honestly is a lot easier said than done. But if you can get this to show you what you want to see, it doesn't really matter what this is defined as long as it allows you to see what you need to see here, you're fine to define this any way you want. It doesn't really hurt or change anything, okay? So I could change my cut plane above or below to see the doors or windows. I could change the top of my view to be the level above, top of wall, right? I could change my view depth to be top of wall. I could have an offset to those, like top of wall, but down 1 foot, right? I could do that. The main thing is these two need to match, okay? And then the offsets for those two need to match, because if one is different from the other, oh, I thought I would get an error. Lucky me, this time I didn't. But you will want to make sure that those things match. I think it makes things work a lot better, okay? Now, if you're having terrible trouble with your view range, like you can't see your ceiling plan, then I'm obviously not there, but Kevin King, he is in the office right next to mine, which is right next to 307C. I think he's in 307B. So if you're having a terrible time getting your view range for your ceiling plan to work, go and see Kevin, and I think he can help you get it working and looking the way that it needs to. But I really do think that if you have, let's just go to an elevation here. Am I missing it? There we go, north. Okay. I really do think if you define your view range like this person has for the roof, and I'm going to hit undo a couple times here because I've been playing around with it. But if we go to a ceiling plan here, like main level, right? And I go to my view range. Okay. I think if you really have similar levels to this person, like top of wall, this will give you a good sense of what this needs to look, be defined as to make it look like this, right? Of course, I brought the offset down to 6'6" to be able to see the doors a little bit better, right? But this is top of wall. So if we go back to our elevation view, right, that's top of wall right there. Okay, so that's our view range, the top of our view range, essentially. Okay, so hopefully that helps with view range. Let's look at the basement here real quick. Ceiling plan for our basement, right? VR, view range. This one has the main level set as the top. So if you were laying on your back in the basement and you were looking up, okay, the cut plane would be at 7'6", and you would view all the way up to the main level, okay? So I think a good view range would be this for your basement, for your ceiling plan, of course. Let's look at our floor plans for our basement. These look wonderful, right? So try setting your view range, try making things look the way they need to. Now that I think about it though, I think I would actually really like to discuss the roof and view range just real quick. So let's go to the roof plan here. I'm going to go to the roof plan, and I want to talk about how this is defined because it is just slightly tricky. Okay, I'm going to WT window tile. We're going to look at the roof here. The tricky thing about a roof plan is really that you don't see the roof from the roof plan. Okay, so if I look at my roof level right here, right, my roof technically lives below that level. It's defined at top of wall, right? So, or the roof is defined at top of wall. So if I look at top of wall and I look from here up, I see my roofs. They're in between the roof and the top of wall levels, okay? So if we look at the view range, VR, of our actual roof plan, okay, you're gonna see that we have some offsets here. You're going to see that the roof is defined at, or the roof plan is, the ranges are the roof, but the view depth is -6 feet below that. Okay, the cut plane is a foot above it, and then the roof, the top is 2 feet above it. And what we really want to focus on here is that the offset is -6 feet. Okay, so what that means is that we are looking at our roof plane, but our view range, let me create a reference plane here for you. 6 foot. Our roof plan, we're actually viewing it 6 feet below the roof level. So if I click, you see I placed a reference plane right there. Okay, what we're viewing here is not what our level is defined as, because if we looked at our roof plan, okay, and we didn't change the view range, we'd be viewing it 4 feet above the roof level. And as you can see, I guess there's a chimney there, but we're not seeing anything else, right? The roof doesn't engage that, okay? And so this view range is defined as 6 feet below the roof. So I'm viewing from this point up. And what that does is it does allow me to capture the views of the roof, okay? So I just wanted to make that clear. When you are trying to create your roof plans, you are going to want to change your view range. You could change it to be top of beam. You could change your view to be top of wall. But what this person did is they chose roof and then gave it a negative offset so that we could see those roof planes below, okay? So if this roof plane, or this, let's do VR, oops, not VR, yes, VR, okay. If the view range of this level didn't have that 6 foot offset, if I change it to 0 and 0, oh, what is that? Oh, that's a filled region. Okay, so he just did a little bit of line work, but this is actually what you would see if that view range wasn't specified, okay? So we'd see the chimney, which makes sense because the chimney goes in between, above the roof plane. So we would see the chimney, okay? View range, -6, -6, okay? And now those roofs come into view because, again, we're viewing 6 feet below that roof plane, okay? This is a confusing topic. If you're looking at this and thinking, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know how to make it work, really, I think if you follow this video and you have these levels generated the way that they're shown here, right, then I think you'll be okay. If you get into some trouble, again, just go to see Kevin, send me a little email, and maybe I can give you some insight into how to get your view ranges looking the right way. But if something isn't showing up, it's probably like with the roof especially, it's likely a view range thing, okay? So take a whack at this and see how it works out for you and let me know. Thanks, guys.